Jams from Communing with Fabric, and Sarah and I recently made a video on showing how to turn a fabric tube using a bobby pin. And we were doing this because we were making fabric beads to make necklaces, and we received some requests to show a video on how to make the beads. So that's what this video will be, how to make a fabric bead with so that you can make jewelry similar to this. So we have the tubes that we made last time. These were 1 inch wide. This one's made from a fairly beefy double knit, and in fact the double knit is polka dots on one side and stripes on the other. So I made tubes with both sides showing, okay? So, and as far as the length goes, the length can vary. Some of my beads, they're 12 inches and some are 20 inches, 24 inches. I use remnants and just sort of cut. Margie, when we were together, made this mammoth bead using a strip that was about 30 inches, and it made a nice big bead. So, you know, you'll figure out what you like. So what you need for this, you need some 24 gauge wire, steel wire, which I bought at the Home Depot store. And I don't cut it, it's a little bit awkward, but because I don't like waste, I don't cut it until I've done forming the bead. So what you're going to need to do is, and it's a pretty malleable wire, so you need to just turn a little loop at the top. It's going to be about maybe a little less than ½ inch, and you're going to fold that down. That way it will thread more easily through the, I'll use the stripe, that might be easier to see. It will thread more easily through the tube. You thread it through the tube. Of course, now that someone's watching, it doesn't want to go. So you thread it through the tube. And out the other end. Okay, and then set that aside for 1 second. Next, you need some 2mm round elastic, which I bought this years ago, the spool of it off Etsy. And then I have it cut into a number of lengths, a number of them into about a 5 inch length. I measured it. I just kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be precise. Then what you want to do is you want to tie a knot right at the tip, a nice secure knot. Oh, close to the tip. Doesn't have to be right at the tip, but you want it to be fairly secure. So there, now I've got my knotted elastic, about 5 inches of it. So you take the wire with the threading with the threaded tube on it, and you're gonna hook. You're gonna hook the elastic just below the knot, and then you're gonna just crimp it so it's pretty secure. Okay. Then you're going to feed the tube up so it just sort of almost you know, starts to go over the knot. Then you want to take some pliers and pinch that, and you kind of want to have everything, you're biting everything. You're biting the elastic, you're biting the wire, you're biting the tube. Now you're going to start to form your bead. And you know, we all kind of have our own little way of doing it. I just get it started, then I take it off. I don't like to go very far because the pliers get in my way. I prefer to use my hands. Also, as I'm winding, I tend to roll it so that the seam is right on the edge, but that's again a personal preference. So now I just start rolling my little bead. Roll, roll, roll. And I'm sorry, it's probably not that easy to see, but you know, you just sort of get used to, you don't, you know, you want to change directions and have it look pretty spherical. And what I find easier is I rotate the bead because I've still got this attached to my wire, so I don't rotate this end, I rotate the bead in my hand. That's kind of what works for me. If I was less of a stingy puss, I would just cut it too long and then cut it to length, but I don't want to do that. So I roll it fairly tightly. Again, this is personal preference, and of course, if you roll it more loosely, you'll get a bigger bead, but I like it to be kind of tighter. And then you get to the end, and you use wire cutters. I just cut it flush. Okay? And then I take my pliers again and I kind of bend it underneath. And then this is where you pick a spot and plunge it in so that it's hidden. And it strikes me, I've never had to do this, but if it wants to pop up and it's not cooperating, you could always take a needle and thread and just kind of secure the edge if it's really not cooperating. Then I kind of form my little, I kind of use my hands to just make sure it's shaped the way I like. Then I have a little bead. I'm going to do another bead on the other end, but I'm not going to do that for the camera because I don't see any point. Then you tie it to whatever piece of jewelry. So I've started this, and what I've been doing is I've been, because now once you're done, you have like these cherries. And then what I do is I put one end of the cherry, I put a polka dot, and on one end I put a stripe. And then you just tie it around. It's really, nothing special. You just tie it around like yay. And then you just kind of, I don't want to cinch it because I'm going to take it right off again. You cinch it tight. And then you can slide it, where you want it. Okay? So that's how you do this necklace. Now you can position these wherever you want. You can spread them apart. You can bunch them together. Here's the first one I made. This one has 5 pairs, so 10 beads on it. This one is going to have more. It's probably going to be more like 20 beads. I also made, now this one I made using a quilting cotton, and you can see the beads are a little bit smaller because, it's not a nice big knit. It's this. The beads came from this cotton here, a Japanese cotton that I cut some beads on the bias and some beads on the straight of grain. And I found that when you cut it on the bias, 1 inch, you might want to go a little wider than 1 inch because the little tube you get is pretty narrow when you cut it at 1 inch. I mean, it's okay, but if you wanted a thicker tube, you might want to go 1 1/4 inch or 1 1/2 inch, something like that. But I made this because I made 10 beads. I made 10 tubes on the bias and out of the quilting cotton and 10 on the straight of grain to compare. And so these beads, I mixed the beads together on the necklace. Now what I did for this necklace, it's a little bit different. This was a necklace I'd made about 4 years ago using only the 2mm round elastic. And these are felt balls. And it's the same general principles, except, instead of making the bead, you just take a large needle and run the elastic, the 2mm elastic right around through the bead and then tie a knot at the end. Now the one little trick for if you're going to do it this way, and I'll just give this to you real quick. So say I'm going to make a necklace here. What you do is you tie your ends, you tie your knots at the ends, and you put your bead on each end. And then you're going to tie the elastic like this. And so now you've got a bead on each end. And then you're just going to tie the other beads around. So that's how this was done. Real easy. And let me just mention, this elastic that I'm using for these other necklaces is 5.5 millimeter bungee cord, which you can sometimes find at Michael's. My Michael's doesn't carry it, but I bought these on eBay. And it comes in solid black and various colors. It comes in, this one, of course, black and white, both color, like little white polka dots. It comes the other way, white with little black polka dots. I have one that's a red and black stripe. And then what you need are, where did I put them? Where's my, the closure. So you need a closure for this one. Okay, so the necklace is mostly done. I have a bunch of beads tied onto my bungee cord. I finished one end with the closure that I bought. The brand is Beads Landing, which is, they also make the bungee cord, and they make these closures, which were from Michael's. I've already finished one, and now I'll finish the other one for you. So you can see that the covering of the bungee cord frays quite impressively. So this is hence a lighter, and you just want to tidy up all those frayed ends. Voila. And then the closure, it's just called Closure by Bead Landing. It's not very descriptive. And then you need some super glue or some equivalent glue. I'm doing this over a plastic because I generally make a mess. In fact, I still have glue on my fingers and my lip from before. Then just put a few drops into the closure. I think I kind of overfilled it. And then just plunge this in. Oh, of course, see, the other one cooperated better. Just kind of twist it in and then let it dry. And it dries pretty quickly. And then voila, the necklace is complete.